2001 and invested $100,000, well, today you would have had over $900,000 to show for it. The inventor of the software is Dr. John Price. He joins me now from our Sydney CBD studio. Dr. Price, welcome to Technology Behind Business this afternoon.
Thank you, Michael.
You say the objective of this software is to find great companies at great prices. How does it work?
Well, it's exactly that. I was a pure mathematician, a research mathematician, and then in 1997 I went to the annual meeting of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, and I was just so excited by everything that I saw that I wanted to be able to emulate what he was doing. So I started writing software for my own investing, and then other people heard about it, and then it really grew into Conscious Investor.
Now let's drill into the details of the software itself, because what you essentially do is it scans the market to look for particular companies that meet particular criteria. Is that right?
Look, I read everything I could get my hands on written by Warren Buffett to understand what his criteria were, and then sort of put that into the software. So there are obvious things like not too much debt, high return on equity, but then I developed some proprietary tools like how stable was the earnings and sales growing, and other tools like that to feed into the software. So that was the sort of great company side of things, what we call wealth winners. And then the second part of it was, okay, you can have a great company, but you can still pay too much for it. So the second part of the software was devising tools to work out what would be a profitable price to pay, when you should buy a company and when you shouldn't.
So there is a secret sauce in here, if you like, that you use over and above the normal generic filters.
Look, it is that true, but mostly it's done consistently. People get pulled away, they say, oh, that's a good thing to do, but then forget about it and bring in other factors. So it's a disciplined approach as well. But yeah, there are proprietary tools, trademark tools within Conscious Investor, that's true.
Now, if you've got this particular software, Dr. Price, why wouldn't you use it yourself? Why give it away in something that other people can use? Why wouldn't you just use this yourself to accumulate wealth?
Yeah, look, it's true, and a lot of people ask me that question, but you know, I started off as an educator, as a research mathematician, a programmer, but the educated gene was strongest in me, I guess, and I wanted to do it and share it with other people. But now what we're doing is we have Team Invest, and they're members who join Team Invest to get Conscious Investor, and now we've started a Conscious Investor fund, and that'll be based on Conscious Investor, the software.
But isn't this pretty much what fund managers do? You give them a set of money and they will potentially scan the market according to their own criteria.
Absolutely.
And find particular companies that meet their requirements and hopefully give you a return on investment. Why would people use a piece of software to do it themselves when a fund manager could do it all for them?
Well, I think you'll know the figures that only about 70 or 80%, well, 70 or 80% of fund managers actually underperform the market. And if they outperform 1 year, they're likely to underperform the next year. And so a lot of people have been sort of burnt by that route as well and want to either do it themselves or go into something like we're talking about, our new Conscious Investor fund that has a very, very strong verified track record for the last 12 years.
Now, you talked a lot about Warren Buffett and you mentioned you'd gone to that conference, but as far as I know, he doesn't necessarily disclose all the kinds of things that he looks for in terms of making a good company. So you would have had to extrapolate in some senses what he was thinking.
Look, that's true, and I think my background as a research mathematician helped me in that regard, because I read everything I could get my hands on. And went to as many annual meetings as I could to really treat it like a research project. Then for a while I had about 20 research students when I was at the University of New South Wales, and a lot of them asked me for research topics, and so they invested in different areas of this as well. And so gradually it sort of fed into what we have today.
So who's the target market then for this software? It's not for everyone. Who's the kind of person you're pitching to?
Look, medium to high net worth investors, people who want to actually do it themselves. So, but pretty much right across the board as well. So we have everybody from very experienced investors to neophytes who are just starting off.
And those figures that you talked about at the start, or I talked about at the start,
Yes.
around the 100,000 and ending up with 900,000, is that something, if I were to invest tomorrow $10,000 using Conscious Investor in 10 years' time, you're convinced that would outperform the market?
Absolutely. Look, when I did it, I didn't really know that it was going to outperform by as much as it did. It was meant to be a tool to sort of support whatever else you're doing. But now with all the testing we're showing, it's just been, the results have been getting stronger and stronger every single year.
All right, might take you up on that bet a bit later. Dr. Price, thanks
Thank
for
you,
joining
Nigel.
us.
My pleasure.
All right, after the break, the company that says they're changing the way the